Hi, I'm Kathy from Kathy Waller Company.
And I'm Trish Wheatley from Disability Arts Online.
We're working on a partnership programme called Decode.
Decode exists to support disabled creatives to understand and navigate access to work. Alongside this, Decode raises awareness and knowledge of the scheme in the arts and culture sector through webinars, training and consultancy.
The video you're about to watch was created in 2019. Since then, there have been a few updates to how Access to Work operates. We have edited the video to reflect the changes, and there is a new section at the end which gives important, up-to-date information.
We hope you find this video helpful and don't forget to explore the full range of resources within our Access to Work guide.
Hi, I'm Jess Thom. I'm a white woman in my 30s, with short, dark brown hair and a very cool wheelchair. Biscuit. I also have Tourette's syndrome. Biscuit. Which means I make movements and noises I can't control. Biscuit. Called tics. Ta-da! Beans. Sausage. Biscuit. I'm here with Deepa Shastri. Biscuit. A deaf Indian woman. Biscuit. 5 feet tall, Biscuit, and in her 40s. Biscuit. She's medium built and currently pregnant. Life-giving, Biscuit. Deepa will be communicating everything that I'm saying in British Sign Language, Biscuit, except my tics, Biscuit, but these will be in the captions. Access to Work, Biscuit, is a Department for Work and Pensions Fund, Biscuit, which can help cover some of the extra costs, Biscuit, your employees may face in doing their jobs or travelling to, Biscuit, from, Biscuit, and during work because they're deaf or disabled. Biscuit, cat, hedgehog, Biscuit. This film, Biscuit, is part of a series of 3, Biscuit, that explain the process of applying to Access to Work, Biscuit, to help the arts and cultural sector to make use of the fund, Biscuit. There is one for self-employed people, Biscuit. One for employed people, Biscuit. Cats. And this one, Biscuit, which is for employers, Biscuit. Throughout the film, we'll be moving through Battersea Arts Centre, Biscuit, a beautiful old Victorian town hall, Biscuit, as we tell you about the different elements of applying for Access to Work. Biscuit, cats, Biscuit. We'll cover eligibility, Biscuit, what you can apply for, the application process, and managing monthly claims, Biscuit. For each section, we'll also give you top tips from colleagues and other organisations, Biscuit, who employ people who get Access to Work support. Beans, Biscuit. Cats, Biscuit. To get help from Access to Work, Biscuit, an employee must be deaf, disabled, or living with a long-term health condition, which means they face barriers doing their job. Biscuit, cats, hedgehog. They must also be 16 or over, Biscuit, and there is no upper age limit. Biscuit, they must live and work in England, Scotland or Wales. Biscuit, there's a different system in Northern Ireland. Access to Work isn't available if you live in the Channel Islands or the Isle of Man. Biscuit, cats, Biscuit. The applicant needs to have a paid job, Biscuit, or be about to start or return to one. Biscuit. A paid job generally means full or part-time paid work, whether permanent, casual or temporary. A standard PAYE job. Biscuit. All of which must be paying minimum wage or above, but also could include, Biscuit, an apprenticeship, a work trial arranged by Job Centre Plus, self-arranged work experience or young person's work experience, or an internship. Biscuit. Grant grants aren't available for voluntary work or when in training, except for training related to paid employment. Biscuit. In accordance with the Equality Act 2010, all employers must make reasonable adjustments in the workplace so that disabled people aren't substantially disadvantaged, biscuit, when doing their jobs. Beans, biscuit. Before your employee, biscuit, makes an application to access to work, you must have a conversation with them about what reasonable adjustments you can make in the workplace. Beans, biscuit, cats. Biscuit. All employers have a legal duty to make reasonable adjustments. Biscuit. Access to work will only fund support that is above and beyond these reasonable adjustments. Biscuit. You need to have a conversation with your employee about the reasonable adjustments, biscuit, before making the application. Biscuit. 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 You've made the reasonable adjustments. Biscuit. Your employee has applied to access to work. Biscuit. If they are successful, you may have to share the cost of their support, depending on the size of the company, biscuit, and whether they are an existing or a new employee. Biscuit. 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 Organisations with less than 50 employees do not have to share the cost. Organisations with between 50 and 249 employees pay the first £500 plus 20% of the costs above that, up to £10,000. Organisations with over 250 employees pay the first £1,000 plus 20% of the costs above that, up to £10,000. If the total costs are above £10,000, normally this will be met by access to work. Biscuit. If the support also provides a general business benefit, a contribution will be sought in addition. Beans, biscuit. Here are our top tips. Make sure you're clear on what reasonable adjustments means and what you have already put in place for your employee. There's no lower earnings limit for employees to be eligible for access to work, so long as you're meeting your obligations as an employer. For example, paying at least minimum wage. Once you have worked out what reasonable adjustments you can make for your employee, biscuit, they can apply for a grant from Access to Work, biscuit, to cover the cost of any additional support needs, biscuit, including equipment, travel and support workers, biscuit. Equipment covers adaptations and new equipment that is needed for access reasons. If public transport is non-accessible to your employee, Access to Work can help pay towards the cost of them getting to and from work, as well as the extra costs of travel during their working day. Biscuit, hedgehog, biscuit. Access to Work will consider funding a support worker if there are no other options available. Biscuit, cat, biscuit. The Access to Work support worker categories are biscuit, sign language interpreter, biscuit, lip speaker, biscuit, note taker, palantypist, biscuit, personal reader, travel buddy, biscuit, the mental health support service, driver, job coach, bearer or paid PA, and job aid. Access to Work will not pay for a support worker, biscuit, to give nursing or personal care. Biscuit. Support starts at the front door, biscuit, when the person is ready to go to work. Biscuit. Cats. Hedgehog. Biscuit. Here are our top tips. You should make your employee feel supported enough to discuss their access requirements in the workplace. Biscuit. But remember, biscuit, they don't have to disclose details of medical conditions to you. Your employee, biscuit, may never have received access to work support before, biscuit, and may not even have fully articulated their access requirements previously. Give them time or support to work it out, biscuit. Access to Work can cover additional support worker hours to administer the monthly claim forms. The Access to Work form is filled in from the perspective of the employee seeking support. Biscuit. You should talk to them about whether they need help to complete the form. Biscuit. Cats. If they require a support worker, but they are not yet in place because Access to Work funding is still needed, biscuit, you may need to help them to complete the form. It's really helpful to have a member of staff who is familiar with the process so that they can be available to offer guidance. Biscuit. Cats. Biscuit. Cats. You can apply online, by phone, text phone, BSL video relay, or NGT text relay. Ta-da! There are specialist disability teams within Access to Work, biscuit, who are more familiar with access or needs around certain disabilities. Biscuit. Biscuit. This doesn't necessarily guarantee they will be familiar with your employee's specific medical condition, impairment, biscuit, or access requirements. Biscuit. Hedgehog. Sausage. Your employee, biscuit, should be able to clearly articulate their situation, hey, so that the advisor fully understands the barriers faced. Biscuit. The whole application process can have an emotional toll on the applicant, so it's a good idea to encourage your employee to have a trusted friend or colleague to lean on for support. Biscuit. Yes. Biscuit. These are the stages of an Access to Work application. Initial application form. Access to Work contact your employee to discuss what help they could get. Access to Work request additional information, e.g. evidence from a medical professional. Advisor contacts your organisation to discuss support for your employee. Assessor may visit the workplace to assess your employee's needs. Employee receives decision which could include a grant offer. More detailed guidance on filling in the form can be found in the Employees section of the full written Access to Work guide. Biscuit. Biscuit. On Disability Arts Online. Biscuit. When Access to Work contacts your organisation to discuss how funding could support your employee, biscuit, they will ask you what reasonable adjustments you have already considered and implemented to comply with employers' obligations, biscuit, for the Equality Act 2010. Biscuit, cat, biscuit. They will also inform you that they require your agreement to countersign any claim forms as necessary. Biscuit. Here are our top tips. Regular updates to Access to Work mean that call centre staff are not always up to date with current information. Biscuit. If they tell you something that you think may be incorrect, double check the information. Biscuit. biscuit, and then contact Access to Work again to confirm, keeping a note of what's been discussed. Biscuit. If you're planning a project with a set time frame or have an employee who needs specific support, biscuit, the application process can take longer than expected. Biscuit, especially if this is your first time applying. Biscuit, try and plan accordingly and have contingencies in your budget. Biscuit. Having a designated staff member who can carry out research beforehand and support employees during the application process will streamline things for future applications. It is common practice for organisations, biscuit, to pay for support workers, biscuit, and travel costs up front, biscuit, and then be reimbursed by Access to Work. Biscuit, cat, hedgehog. For every calendar month that support is used, biscuit, a completed claim form must be sent by post, biscuit, signed by you and your employee, biscuit, along with any relevant receipts, biscuit, and invoices, sausage and love letters, biscuit. They love a love letter, biscuit. The claim must arrive within 6 months of the activity it relates to, biscuit, in order to be paid. Here are our top tips. Your employee may need support filling in the monthly claim forms, especially in the first few months. Another staff member who is experienced at administration might be able to help. You need to make a separate claim for each type of support. For example, if you have a support worker, job aid, and get a travel grant, they must all be claimed separately, even if the support worker and job aid are the same person. This also means they have to invoice separately. Post each claim in its own envelope. Check out examples of different claim forms in the written version of this guide. This guide has been produced by Disability Arts Online with funding from Arts Council England. Biscuit. For the full guide, alternative formats, and links to other resources, visit disabilityarts.online/ATW. Ta-da! Biscuit. Thank you for watching, and we hope this was helpful.
Here are some important updates about Access to Work. Freelance versus self-employed. Whilst we tend to use the term freelance and self-employed interchangeably, Access to Work has very specific meanings to these terms that will determine the type of grant you are awarded. To Access to Work, self-employed means you are a sole trader, you have a UTR number, you might work on multiple contracts, and you submit a tax return. Access to Work considers the term freelance to mean that you only work on multiple PAYE contracts. If you tell Access to Work you're freelance when in fact you're self-employed, you will only be able to get access support when you're working on a PAYE contract and not all year round. You can find more information about freelance support in our glossary. If you're self-employed and work on multiple PAYE contracts throughout the year, you can apply for 2 separate grants to support you for each type of work.
The lower earning limit can change every year. As a reminder, this is the turnover amount that self-employed people need to make in order to be eligible for an Access to Work grant. For the financial year 2024 to 25, this amount is £6,396. You can always check the latest lower earnings limit on our updates page. If you're new to self-employment or coming back to work as a self-employed person after a break, you won't have any turnover yet. In this instance, Access to Work will now award you a 3-year grant. You have that amount of time to reach the lower earning limit turnover needed to renew your grant for the future.
Access to Work, more often than not, will refer you for a holistic workplace assessment. This is carried out by a third party and can be either face-to-face or online. It's important to know that these assessments now discuss equipment, software, travel, and support workers, so make sure you talk about all of these in your assessment. At the end of 2023, Access to Work rolled out a new online claims portal so that you now have the option to send your claims in by post or through the online portal. Anyone who receives an Access to Work grant can register online and set up their portal to make claims electronically. To do this, go online and search Access to Work claims. We have a video which shows the online claims portal in the resource section of our guide.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, there is lots more information on our Access to Work guide. Also, if you want more detail about Access to Work rules or direct quotes from their guidance, do an online search for Access to Work Staff Guide.